How about now? Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. If you can hear me, let me know in the live chat. Said the bootleg running interference. They should. Okay, I think we good now. Thanks, Thomas. Let me just get a couple more confirmations, and then we'll get started. Okay. All right. There we go. I hope not, Ken Doll. I hope not. I hope not. Let's see. All right. There we go. Is it nice, loud, and clear? I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay. And to the people waiting in the Zoom meeting, I'm going to get to you in about 10 to 15 minutes. Just want to get the show started. Live chat, if you want to ask me any questions, just type in at Moe Factz so I can see it. It pops up in orange so I can see it. And you know how we do on the lives? We usually go look at the social media profile and see what's trending. Thank you, sir, Bubba Hotel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All righty. Let's make sure we share this out as well to your friends, to everybody, so we can make this Factz family grow even larger. How you doing, Foreign Cash? So yeah, I had to hold back on 6. I couldn't drop everything in the live, all the little um all the little factoids that I had to share on the show. I couldn't expose them here, so I had to keep it very surface. So sometimes I have to wait until we do the show to break certain pieces of information out. But even after that, oh boy, it's getting even deeper. I think we found the connection to Vancouver. We're gonna get in that tonight. There's some crown beef going on. So we'll look at that as well. And I think we're gonna have a good show. I think we're gonna have a good show here. Let's see. Oh, I don't. I catch it on the playback, Daily Ruin. I feel you. Yeah, we're not gonna be here too late. I might stay to about 11, a little bit afterwards, if if it stay, as long as it stays interesting. Uh, we'll stay a little past 11. Yeah, I got a little late start. Had a busy day at work, so still have to do the day job. So so I guess we can get started. Um, let's see here. See what we got going on here. Okay, if you don't know, uh, oh yeah, the Patriots is loading up. I see that. I see that. Yeah, Belichick wasn't gonna stay down for long. I'm working on something for sports. For my sports fan out there, I got something I got a lot of stuff in the works. I got a really nice interview lined up for later this week. I think you're gonna enjoy a great. Well, I hate to say interview. Scratch that, a conversation. I'll let you know more about that later. Got a couple guest spots on some podcasts, so I'm going to be out there. But let's start off with 60. Any questions about 60 y'all had, or are we just going to get into the aftermath after Monsters Ball, which I had a really fun time putting that show together. Really fun time. A lot of deep diving. And I did it in record time. I turned that show around in maybe about 5 or 6 days. I was pretty impressed with myself, if I have to say so. But after that, stuff we didn't get to talk about, Vivica Fox says light-skinned. I can't even read this with a straight face. Vivica A. Fox says light-skinned Prince Harry came over to the black side. according to Madame Noir, that rag. This is the problem. Anytime somebody throws us a bone or even looks our way, some people just get all giddy and elated. And he really didn't do anything. He didn't give us any names. He said he wasn't going to get into that conversation. Yeah, yeah. Thomas said, "Woo Lord." Yeah, this is amazing. Matter of fact, so we got that we could talk about, and then if you didn't know, there's rumors that some funding is looking into Meghan Markle possibly making a 2024 run, which I think that would be interesting. I'm just going to lay out what we want to talk about, and then the callers can call in, and then we could talk. Yeah, the live chat is having a ball with that one. This would be amazing if we can get Kim K versus Meghan Markle. Just that'll be amazing. I hope we get to see that. I hope not, but I hope so. We also got Marvin Hagler took the jab and passed away. Put some respect in that legend's name. We got to start calling these tragedies out. What's up, Seneca Jones? How you doing? Seneca or Seneca? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Natasha, how you doing? Natasha was busy in the comments for 60. I saw you. Let's see. The first ginger was sold, I guess. That's pretty funny right there. Let's see. Then we got the most absurd tweet I read last week. Keep this person nameless. She says, since at Joe, I hope it's her account, but since at Joe Biden became president, my orgasms are back. Thanks, Joe. I'm sure my husband thanks you. Well, it was hers. Sure, my husband thanks you as well. So that was pretty hilarious. And we could talk about this chart if y'all want to. Thought that was pretty interesting. We'll probably do that in the second half of the show if we have time. It's very free forming. And then we can get into this Vancouver. So where would y'all like to start? I guess we got some people waiting. So let's let them in and see what they want to talk about. And then we'll go to the live chat. Yeah, rest in peace, Marvelous. Legend. Gone too soon. So I'm going to let Brad in and see. And make sure you have your YouTube cut off in the background so we don't get the feedback while Brad getting his audio set up. Yeah, we're going to get into this Vancouver after we take a couple of calls. The Vancouver connection. I found this post show, but this is very, very interesting. I hate to tease it. And then we'll talk about the Grammys. Maybe we get to the Grammys. We might say that for later this week. I don't know. We got a lot on the table. I really want to let the people talk about what they want to talk about, and then these two. So then this one, this is amazing. So we might stick on the Meghan Markle thing and save the Grammys for next week. Let's see. Brad, you getting your audio set up? I'm gonna let Zay in as well. Zay. Whoever gets the audio set up first, I'll let you in. So anybody, what do y'all want to talk about in the live chat? Y'all let me know. Oh yeah, we got Tamir Rice's mom. Yeah, that I want to keep some of this stuff. I'm trying to do 2 lives a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. That's the working time schedule right now. Oh yeah, 10-4 hats in the building, extra heavy duty. You know what time it is, Rob. Everybody put your 10-4s on. We got 10-4 koofies, 10-4 buckets, 10-4 Kangos, 10-4 fitted snapbacks. We got them all. We got them all. So any kind of hat you want to have. Because they said we were crazy. Hey, Zay, how you doing? So we got Zay.
Can you hear me, Mo? Hello?
I can't hear you, Zay. Let me see. Something's going on. Let me see if something with the sound. The sound seems to be good. Zay, I can't hear you. Oh, peace, Reefer Franklin. Yeah, glad you could join us.
Hello?
Andrea Jackson says, Mo, have you heard any news about how many people are being harmed by the jab? Too many. I don't have any hard numbers on that. I'm just now pivoting back to that whole, this whole scenario. I did the nocebo effect show. I'm just digging back into that file. Don't have any hard concrete numbers, but I have some very interesting names. As we know, the Hank Aaron, we know allegedly Hank Aaron. Let me make sure I put it out there. Allegedly Marvin Hagler. And there's one more name I'm gonna hold back for when I do the revisit this on the podcast. But yeah, just too many. Let's see. Let me mute. Asking to unmute. I don't know.
Can you hear
What's going on here? I can't hear you, Zay.
I don't understand why.
Wow, what's going on with the sound here?
Hello?
Zay, let's see what's going on with the sound and I'll get right to you.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I can't hear Zay. I don't know what's going on with that.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Let's see if it's Zay's phone. I'm gonna let Corey in. Zay, I don't know if it's my end or your end.
Hello?
So let's
Hello?
just see. I'll let Corey in. Let's see if he has audio issues as well. I don't know what's going on here. All right, so back to that. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Y'all can hear him, but I can't. That's weird. Yeah, I can't hear him. I don't know what's going on here. That sucks.
Yo. Hello? Testing.
Hello.
Can you hear me, Mo? Yo. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I can hear
Yeah,
you.
this is going bad. I don't know what's going on here. I can't hear him. Boy, this is a real buzzkill. All right, let me see. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know.
Yo,
Yeah, I might have to kill this meeting and go out and come back.
can you hear me
I
now?
hate to leave though. Ah, man. That's a tough one.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Let me go out. Let me leave and I'll come back. Okay. All right. Let me leave. If I leave, though, I'll lose all of y'all. I don't know. Stuck like Chuck here. Okay.
Testing.
Hello. Zay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you, Mo. Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now. Hold on 1 second. Let me try something. I think I got him. 1 second. I got it. Told you, man. Got to figure it out. All right, 1 second, Zay. I can hear you now, but let me plug my headphones into this other jack. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? Mic check. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. How you doing? All right, we got it, folks. Sorry about that. Yeah, let me see. RIP Hank Aaron. Yep, Marvelous Marvin. Hagler. Yeah, how you doing, Zay?
I'm good and yourself. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Sorry about that, man. Hey,
no,
you know it's always something with something.
It's good, bro. You already know what it is. Your nightly bus drivers here listening to you while I'm driving the bus, getting these people around, same as last time. I just wanted to say that that episode 60 was crazy. It straight blew my mind. A lot of the things that the bombshells he was dropping, stuff like that. I just wanted to make 2 points. I remember when you said that her real name is Rachel Meghan Markle, but in that Nickelodeon clip, I was wondering how old she was in that Nickelodeon clip because she introduced herself as Meghan Markle.
She didn't she?
Yeah, she didn't use Rachel.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, she used Megan. So I'm guessing she was already a child actress already, or being groomed as a child actress, maybe. Because you were saying that was her stage name.
Yeah. Right. And then the other thing is I think her name on the Suit show was Rachel, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
So I mean, it just even gets deeper.
That's
Let me
crazy.
see. Let me just check. Go ahead.
Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say is I found this show through listening to Adam on Rogan, and then from here I started listening to No Agenda. But it's funny that I forgot the guy who said it in the chat that was saying that John is jealous of you, because I was getting that same vibe with the last show they had, because I noticed Adam played that clip that you had played about the manipulation, domination, and what was it? Manipulation, domination, and what was the third one?
Are you talking about from Pastor Stephen Darby?
Right, from the pastor. And I
the
noticed
witchcraft, the witchcraft clip.
Right. John heard the clip. It's like he sound like he was annoyed, and he was like, "Yeah, you bringing stuff from your other show into this one." Like it's sounding like he's not a big Moe Factz fan to me, honestly.
Well, I'll say it like this, not to speak on the situation. First of all, I haven't heard it because I'm always listening to No Agenda delayed. Just so when me and Adam talk, I don't know what his viewpoint is going to be on certain things. So I always listen to it in a delay, and I'll say it like this: this show ain't for everybody. See what I'm saying? I mean, I don't take any offense to anything. You know, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it just seems like rubbing him like he says. It seems like he's getting kind of jealousy because like Adam is like real enthusiastic and excited. I mean, when he talked to you and trying to share information, and John is just kind of like just shooting it down. Like,
yeah, like I said, I mean, I can't really speak on that. I mean, because what we do over here, we do over here. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't for everybody.
I understand.
And we just keep on pushing. you know how it goes. Right.
Yeah, just keep on pushing. And like I said, check on that Meghan Markle thing too. Listen to that clip again because she definitely addressed herself as Meghan.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is what this is why I wanted to keep you on line, get to before I got off the line. She attended that Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse. which
Mm-hmm.
let's just dig into that for a minute. I didn't really go down that path. I didn't really want to get into her earlier life. And it, like that. I mean, other than just to show that she has been in the scene.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, this Hollywood schoolhouse, or the Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse, there's something to that as well. I would like to look into more. But I appreciate you dropping that jewel on me about her using Megan when her name was Rachel Megan. And if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, let me just see. Suits. I think her real name was I mean her show name was Megan Markle, which that Suits, and I didn't really elaborate on it. Her
Mm-hmm.
role in Suits, um, her role in Suits was very predictive programming. Because, like I said, if you notice, the character that she was dating, ended up marrying, I believe, his name was Mike, and he
Okay.
was an imposter in
Right.
in the firm, if you want to take it literal, in the law firm, or the firm, if you want to take it like that, and he shouldn't have been there. And she really brought him credibility by being with him, even though she knew that he was a illegitimate. So, like I said, there's a lot of just little nuggets that you're saying you tuck away when you watch stuff like that. Yeah, her name was Rachel Zane. So
Yeah.
even her show name was part of her real name. So I just like to point that out as well. Anything
And
else you like to make points on?
one last quick thing too about how you were saying how they always marry their cousins. I was thinking, do you think that's because maybe like for the whole tinfoil hat thing with the whole lizard people, maybe is because like they trying to not mix with our blood too much and I guess dilute their blood or their race kind of whatever they are. I
Yeah,
mean, maybe that's
it,
why they have to
obviously
marry.
they don't want to. Yeah, obviously they don't want to. Like you said, I don't want to use the word pollute, but dilute. I think dilute would be a better word. Yeah, they don't want to dilute their bloodline because they think it's superior, and that's why their whole family and how they move is the epitome of white supremacy. Um,
Right.
and being born into that family gives you a certain status level that's not earned. It's just birth. But like I said, I can't be mad at them because I
Right.
feel, you know what I'm saying, I feel the same way about my lineage. Like I said, we're just a lot of things we do are vain. And when we see ourselves, we want our offspring to look like ourselves. It's a form of vanity as well, and it's
Mm-hmm.
deeper than, you know what I'm saying, than race as well. I mean, race is a component, but there's also, even inside of races, when you talk about on the color spectrum, if you're on the darker hue, and just say for me, I'm saying, for instance, you have a lighter person, a darker person. The darker person, of course, want the kids to favor them. Just
Right.
out of vanity. It's nothing to get you married the person that you love, you know what I'm saying? So it's nothing against them, but it's still vanity. So
Right. All right, Mo, I appreciate it, man. I don't want to hold you up too long. I know you got a lot of people
oh
want to
no,
talk.
no problem. You could either wait and you can mute yourself and wait in the chat. If anything else comes up, you can raise your hand. But yeah, get the people safe where they need to go, and you stay safe yourself. Okay.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna stick around. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, Zay.
All right.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, this show ain't for everybody, and I don't really like to speak on that. We do what we do over here in a silo, so it is what it is. Let's see. There was a guy who made a bunch of Nickelodeon shows who was a real creep for. Yeah, what is his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I had to look it up. I remember that story though. Came forward. Okay. SBCA says first time here. What's up, people? I just like if you have a question in the live chat, make sure you type at Moe Factz, and then I can see you. Yeah, but we had to get into this little red schoolhouse. So while we're waiting on more callers, I probably blew it with a lot of people because they were waiting and I couldn't hear them. Sorry about that. If you want to call back, you can call back. Let's get to this. Y'all let me know. So somebody sent me I don't know if I want to say the name or not, but somebody sent me a tweet and told me to look into this guy, Frank Guistra. I think it's Justra. I think it's Justra. That's how you pronounce it. This is the Vancouver connection. Yes, this is the Vancouver connection. So um this is who they went and stayed with, and he has ties to the Clinton family and the uranium deal out of Canada, a lot of connections there. And this is why you have to pay attention to everything so the truth can reveal itself. I found this old clip of Steve Bannon talking about this guy and them. So I'm gonna play the clip. Y'all let me know if the sound is right. If it's not, I'll turn it up some. But let's just see if we can get into this. Why is the sound not playing? Can y'all hear that? Let me know if you can hear that or not. Let me know if y'all can hear him talking. If not, I have to go to the YouTube. Let's just go to YouTube. Okay. Sound off. Okay. Man, won't let me be great. Will they? Share sound. Let's see here. Why is the sound not playing? That's weird. Back to Radio Shack. Bruh, I'm trying to tell you, I didn't have this problem ever before. Let's see. It's always something new. Yeah, I got the sound up. There's no mute. The sound is set. It's saying play sound from the share. Uh, yeah, but if I do that, then I'll lose you all. Let's see. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Can't stop me. Why is it not playing? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. Let me do that. No, I gotta play this. But yeah, anyway, he says Frank Justra, I think how you pronounce it, is the if you read Clinton Cash is the real villain and backing of all these penny stock operators, one of the most corrupt guys in the Canada. He is back. He is in back of the Iranian one deal. He is one doing all these companies flipping them around. Next thing you know, he got $1 billion of value with mining. Right somewhere, he is a complete promoter of stock promoter, penny stocks promoter up in Vancouver. This ain't working. Um, freak. Why is it not working? I might not even save the show. It's going so bummer. But yeah. Anyway, he just verified that Steve Bannon verified that he's in back of them, and it's on my Twitter. If you want to go check it out, and I'll share the link in the live chat, like somebody said. Come on. What? Man, this is super sucky. I am not gonna, and my sound won't even come up. That's crazy. Anyway, we got Ricky on the line, so let's get to Ricky. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me get this link right quick and post it in the chat while Ricky's getting his audio straight. There y'all go. There's the link. All right, so waiting for Ricky to get straight on his audio. How you doing, Ricky?
Hey, Mo, what's going on?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. I know you're dealing with the Meghan Markle situation. Me and you had a quick exchange last week after that whole suppression situation, and I wanted to just jump on and if you want to touch on that, cool. If not, I truly understand why you wouldn't want to.
Oh no! You said we had a exchange. You called into the show or on the other channel?
Nah. This is on Twitter. We spoke about.
Oh, it was on Twitter. Oh,
yeah. I was the guy who mentioned about. I wanted you all to get past that understanding of suppression via censorship and what was it? Shadow banning. I was the one that mentioned that. I don't know if you remember
right.
that. And then we went into the
yes, I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
Yes. Right. Okay, so just two quick things. I really felt like I got 100% understood where you were going with that, because shadow banning and stopping people's word from getting out does largely result in suppression. And I fully understood where you was going with that. And I wish you all kind of landed there, because I feel like the exchange would have been a little bit more fruitful. So that's one. You got anything? And okay, my second thing was when we spoke about the gaslighting, and you mentioned, he was gaslighting. You gotta call it out, right? It's not that I disagree with calling it out, but I've been listening to the blog talk radios, your regular FM stations or whatnot, and one thing that I've always realized is anytime the host feels like somebody's getting the best of them, they do exactly what happened. They mute them, they talk over them, and they hang up on them. And that's why I was kind of hoping,
right?
Like, come on, Mo. I know. I feel what you're doing, but I know how this is gonna end. Let's back up a little bit and try another angle, because I know how this is gonna end. So that's the only angle I was coming from, as far as like, I know he gaslighting and you want to cut through it, but given that you're not in a mutual location, you're actually on his show. At the end of the day, he kind of he could pull the plug, and that's exactly what happened. So that's really where I was coming from with that.
Well, Ricky, all I'm gonna say is this: you came on my platform, right? And I let you voice your opinion. If I disagree with you, I will pick apart your points, not silence you. Because when you silence somebody, like you said, that makes it seem like you're not strong on your points. And that's the whole point. Like that's how ideas, like it's like they say, steel sharpens steel, right? If you say, okay, I don't want to sharpen steel anymore, then what are we doing? So as I even said, when you want me to talk, right? And I don't want to go back too far about this, but this is bigger. If we're having a conversation, and I don't do debates really, I do conversations because, as I always point out, I live by the 7 habits. And one of the 7 habits, one of the most important habits, is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So for me to understand you, I have to listen to you. And then it's like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. And then you can honestly say that I understand where you're coming from, and then I'll go into where we counter. And then hopefully we both walk away from this situation, just like with this exchange me and you just had. I walked away, okay, even if I'm not on, but it shouldn't be home turf or away turf. It should be, if we're coming together in a good faith effort to have a fruitful conversation that'll further, to further our people. And I think a lot of time we get caught up in that the battle mode of trying to win the argument instead of taking away something that I didn't have before we had the conversation.
Yeah, and when you're on the platform and you know however many people are listening, egos can get real testy. And I think like I said, from the Blog Talk Radios to Standard FM, when that usually happens, the host, I mean, 9 times out of 10, I've seen it a million times, they wind up doing exactly what happened. And just related to that, because you were speaking about the whole Trump thing and just black man to black man, dude, what I've learned when it comes to this whole Trump thing, it's hard to get people to be objective about Trump. It's hard. It's kind of like
Well,
the reverse of Obama.
We're Ricky. Let's have that conversation then. Why is it hard?
Well,
I'll have my theory.
well, no. We actually in
I
agreement.
think Democratic. Go ahead.
No. We are actually in agreement with a lot of stuff. What I'm saying is it's hard to get others, especially black folks, to be objective when you're having a conversation about Trump because they're so drunk on hate. And a lot of times it's the exact opposite of what it is with Obama, right? It's hard to get black folks to be objective with Obama because they're so drunk on loving Obama and loving the representation and loving the symbolism that nothing that you say, no criticism that you throw his way, no matter how much sense it makes, it's hard to cut through that. It's hard to cut through that. And like I said, the same thing with Trump. People so drunk on hate with Trump that if you come out and say, actually, Trump didn't really do anything to black people specifically, people look at you like you're crazy. And you could run it down literally, because I've done it countless times.
Okay.
And it's like,
and here's the thing, I don't think it's the hate for Trump. If I could interject for a second, I don't think it's the hate for Trump. I think it's we're expected to act a certain way, so we have to stay on roll. And if we don't stay on roll, then our whole identity can be questioned, because being black, quote unquote black, is made up of certain components, and one of them is being unquestionably loyal to the Democratic Party and vehemently hateful towards the Republican Party. And I'm not for either party. I'm for who has the most to offer me for my vote. And if you neither have nothing to offer me for my vote, then I'll keep my vote here. And that's the whole point where I'm trying to change the conversation from reparations to atonement, because reparations is about what you owe me, right? Atonement is about, you owe me. That's why you feel bad, and you need to atone for that. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to atone, that's fine, but don't come ask me for my vote. You know what I'm saying? We can see eye to eye. Say a person's like, I don't want to give you reparations. Fine. That's fine. I don't want to give you atonement. Cool. But when it comes time for you to come ask me for my vote, I'm going to say, since you don't have anything to offer me, I don't have anything to offer you. And that's the way we'll get at this. But a lot of times people want to say, oh, we want to get past the racial issue. We're going to get past the racial issue. It's a point of, if you owe a person something, that's right, Rick. If I owed you $1,000,
yeah, it is what it is.
The $1,000 is going to be a problem until that debt is settled. Me and you can't deal with each other. Now, I understand, like Ricky, you know what I'm saying, in a hard spot right now. You know, I mean, maybe he can only give me 25. Okay, that's fine. But the debt is still there. And long the debt is there, man, you can't see eye to eye.
Right. And related, just it kind of all ties together when you talk about suppression, when you talk about being a loyal Democrat and not want to get off that square because of identity. Even when you talk about reparations, kind of related. I noticed there's, even after the election, there's still all this talk about voter suppression, right? And I'm from the South. I know that those people out there, I know they try to do it. But I also do know, because you hear it all the time, that the Stacey Abrams, they didn't put in work and got voter drives, voter registration drives or whatever, right? So while there is attempts of voter registration, there are also measures out there, and what's the word? I'm under the word. Energy on the other side to combat voter suppression, right? And I think overall what I'm getting at is there's so much talk about voter suppression that when it comes to black people, that it soaks up all the energy that by the time you get to talk about what we're voting for, nobody want to talk about that. And last summer was the
No,
most.
but that's what we need to talk about first. I
Right,
mean, like
right,
when you
right,
go to a restaurant, it's an exchange. You know, I
right,
mean,
right,
you don't say, here, take my $20, then bring me what you think you owe me. No, it's
right,
that,
right.
I want this on the menu and I want it this way. And I'm willing to exchange you whatever price you have on that item. I'm willing to exchange, which is a vote. I mean, that's the price of vote. And this is what's on our menu,
Right,
and
right.
until they can get that. But our racial identity is so, the voting democratically, voting in general. If you don't even, here's the problem I used to have with, I used to get so frustrated with people
Hmm.
used to say, well, and you know this, Ricky. I mean, you can verify this or not. When you tell somebody, look, I'm not really feeling the Democratic candidate, right? And then you say, I'm not going to vote, and they say, you got to go vote. You got to do it for
Right,
your ancestors. And it's
right,
like,
right.
okay,
And that's
so I'm
why
going to look at the other side and see what they have to offer. Well, you can't do that. That's the Klan. It's like, okay, so I have to vote, but I can only vote for one side. So where's the choice in that?
right. And two things. There's so much I mentioned about how all the energy is in the voter suppression, and you got to do it for your ancestors, that it feels like the vote itself is viewed as the act of uh of the fight, the act of striking against white supremacy, the act of fighting racism. And so when people go out there and vote, they feel like, they brush their shoulders off and feel like they've done their part. When I'm like, hold on, that ain't even the beginning of it. And matter of fact, you just went out there and gave me your vote just because somebody boosted you up to do it, not because you was doing it to accomplish something about who you voted in. And I don't know, I lost my train of thought. What did you say right before? That
Yeah,
I
well,
had a
I want to get to one point, and
yeah.
this is where we get discouraged at, because they tell
Yeah.
you,
Oh.
well, reparations is a pipe dream, right? They tell you reparations is a pipe dream. Well, reparations it should be to Black people what amnesty is to people that are pro illegal, right? It's that thing that seems unattainable, but you're moving
But you
progress
always,
in.
yep.
You're saying, right, you're always pushing forward to that progress, and you look where it's gotten, that contingency of, or that voting block. Look at the borders now. I mean, the first thing when Biden got in, he didn't give them amnesty per se, but he gave them the green light to say, come to the flood the borders, we'll get you in, and we'll make sure we won't deport you. So I mean, you have to start somewhere, and I think that's the big ask, because we are owed that. It's a debt. We're not asking for any
Hmm.
handouts or any social programs. We're asked what we're owed, and it seems like people get so frustrated with us because we starting to make a voice for ourselves, and it ties into this. I'm just going to jump here right quick. I'm gonna show you where it ties in it, to what the topic so I brought up tonight, and this is Michelle Obama and Meghan Markle situation. Have you heard about that? Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so in the Daily Mail, I don't know if you can see the screen or not, but the Daily Mail reported Michelle Obama saying public service is not about us, it's about the people we serve. Michelle takes thinly veiled swipe at Megan's Oprah interview, but as she is not surprised by claims of royal family racism. What's happening now is we're a block of votes to be traded, to be owned. And now you're seeing these two factions, I believe, the Obama faction, and I would say the Oprah / Meghan Markle faction, are warring for the minds, and I say that literally, the minds of Black people.
Hmm.
It's like, who will own the Negroes?
See, and follow me. Let me know if I'm tripping as I just walk through this theory. When they
No,
talk
go
about,
ahead.
you just mentioned about as a Black voter, you're part of a voting block, right? But if the
Mhm.
voting block itself is always going to do the same thing every time, where is my leverage as an individual voter, a part of this voting block? So when they talk about like voting suppression and your vote isn't worth anything, how much is my vote worth if my whole voting block will go blue every single time without fail, not demand anything of
Mhm.
it or for it? And if me I bring up the conversation to say, hey, we should probably try to, negotiate something for it. Diddy did it kind of last year, even though Diddy kind of, but the conversation did come up last year. Yeah, I know.
I think Diddy played a role. I think he played a role, but go ahead.
No, I'm only saying from a standpoint of last year was the first time in my life, I'm going on 40, close to 40. It's the first time in my life that I've actually heard on a national stage about a real, not so much a black agenda, but hey, we're not just going to do this for you blindly. We need something in exchange. No, and for me, it's kind of
it is a black agenda.
Yeah,
okay. It is black agenda.
Right. And to me, like I said, just the gist that I was just saying was that, and to me, it's to a certain degree, if your voting block is going to do the same thing, then that is kind of suppressing your vote. That is kind of silencing your voice as an individual, because how much power do you have as an individual if your whole group is always going to do the same thing every time? And that in itself, to me, was kind of discouraging this last go round.
Well, let me show you the progress. The progress is, you just said, the conversations being had on a larger platform, because they know it only takes to a certain amount. And here's the cool thing about a block vote. If you can engage that block to say, stay at home until you put tangibles on the table, one party's going to win and one party's going to lose, right? The loser of that part of that election, they lose 1, 2, 3 elections in a row, they're going to have to bend to your request. See, that's why they really turned it up at the border, because they said, you know what, these black people are getting a mind of their own. So we need to, replace those votes with brown votes. Let's just be honest here. That's what's happening. But the only problem is the brown vote doesn't have the component, the political component in their identity. They don't have the political component in their identity. So as they become more affluent and become more, buying into the American dream, the more money you have, the more conservative you become. So they don't have that loyalty or allegiance that we have. So enough of the thing, like I said, the thing about us, if we can say, and it's important, and it ties all, because all this is all you're hearing about Meghan Markle and Michelle Obama and Oprah. They're saying who is going to own the black vote. But what we're saying is the default is we're not coming out unless we're enticed to come out. We have to stop saying either or. And that's one of the very, very dangerous things. People say, well, I'm leaving the Democratic plantation. And then they run over to another plantation. It's like, that's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? You don't say, oh, that master's better than this master. You know what I'm saying? That's backwards thinking. What you have to say is, what can we do on our own? Right. I'm glad you called in, Ricky. I hope you call in again. If you want to hang out in the live chat, you know what I'm saying, and just mute yourself and raise your hand. Any other points you come up? I think me and you come from we share the age and certain demographic similarities. So I was very interested. I'm glad to hear from you.
Always, man. Thanks.
All right, you can hang around, Ricky. Just let me know if you want to raise your hand, chime back in. Just mute yourself and just raise your hand, okay?
Cool.
All right, let's go back to any questions in the live. Yeah, that's what this is all about, is ownership of the black bloc. And what we have to start doing is say, you know what? There's gonna be winners, there's gonna be losers, and that's gonna happen due to our action. Not doing anything can be an action, and it's not being apathetic and just saying, well, I'm not going to do anything. No, it has to be a calculated action of us making a decision and people feeling the pain of it. And once they feel that pain long enough, then they'll say, you know what, we have to go talk to these people. All right, so Rob 3000 says maybe they're trying to buy Democrat loyalty with citizenship at the board. Oh, that's definitely what they're trying to do. But Rob, here's the problem. No other block of vote is like the black vote, in the sense of it's baked into our identity, voting democratically. And this is a new phenomenon. Like I said, this happened back with King, I think in 64, I believe. It was either 60 or 64, where I think Dr. Martin Luther King himself was a Republican. So I mean, and he was his father was close friends with Nixon. So this is a new phenomenon. Um, so yeah, they can buy their citizenship, but once people come to America and they start making money, generating wealth, they're going to vote for lower taxes and increased policing and more conservative thought processes. Because once you become a father and a father and a business owner and these things of this nature, you know you want to have a more conservative environment. So that, yeah, it's a leaky bucket. They can get them here, but that loyalty will not stay like it's baked in with black people. Thomas, you said which one is more likely between the two? Let me see. Let me scroll up. If I can. Let me see if I can scroll up and see the two major political parties and their most senior members in Congress. Who is more likely to pass reparation, Mitch McConnell or Nancy Pelosi? The one is continuously losing. I don't see. That's the thing. I don't care which side it is. If you lose, you're gonna say, you know what? And look how I'll say this. Look how close the elections were in these contested states. If you can swing that block one way or other, then you can make them feel you. All right, so that, I mean, that's what I feel, Thomas. Let's see. The Unbelievable podcast, the Gen X whites are more quietly accepted than the louder millennials. 10 years from now, things are going to be much different. And that's the thing about it. The Antifa people, and the so-called Marxists, so-called communists, as they get older, have kids, they're going to become more conservative. So that's the case. You said they're Eric PP. You said they're culturally more conservative. Who is the there? I would like to hear more on that. Yeah. So no, it doesn't work that way. And like I said, the Democratic Party has built their party to say, okay, we have the black vote. Now we build our coalition off that, and it's really representative of that. We're the bottom of the foundation of their whole political structure. So yeah, and that's what this whole thing is about. Michelle knows what's going on. Michelle looks at it like, you know what? They're trying to supplant us. The Obamas have been exposed. That whole thing about Barack Obama and the elections, and it was the white forces to be that kept him from talking about reparations. He never talked about reparations. He was too busy telling black men to, you know what I'm saying, to do better, which we should want to do better. But that's a conversation that doesn't need to be had on a national stage. When you won't question anything else, when you won't question white supremacy, when you won't question, when you worried more about Skip Gates being harassed in his nice neighborhood than these children being shot dead in the street. I mean, all I'm asking, I'm not asking for convictions. I'm asking for investigations. He had the power to investigate. He had the power to investigate under two black um, Department of Justice heads, Loretta Lynch, and what's the other guy's name? I can't think of his name. Uh, the one that did the Fast and Furious. His name slips my mind. But anyway, yeah. Let's see what the live chat has to say. What's your live chat? Y'all kind of quiet tonight. Let me see what y'all got. What y'all got? Any questions? See if you got any more callers. Any more callers? Let me drop that link in the live chat one more time, just in case we have some more people that want to call in. And that's what it's all about. These live chats are more so we can have free form discussions. So, and we need to have everybody's opinion. Drop that link in there one more time. Are you saying the people coming to see? Yeah, I mean, because they're based off Catholicism. So yeah, they do have, once they get, I'm saying what they want, once they get a firm grip into American society. Eric Holder, thank you, Eric Holder. Yeah, they had Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch, and you can't get an investigation in none of these cases. Some of them, like I said, but you can't get not one of those cases. Thank you, Andrea and Andrea Joseph and Reserve Intelligence for the that. Thank you. Yeah, Eric Holder. The Unbelievers podcast said, I wonder if Obama is feeding lines to Biden. It's hard to tell the way Biden fumbles. Well, he's not, he doesn't have an earpiece in his ear and tell him what to say. He really letting Joe do what Joe does. That way Joe can, make himself, get himself up out of there. Let's see. Okay, we got Thomas. All right, Thomas, I look forward to hearing from you. And we got let's Weezy. I'm gonna get to you next. Let's get Thomas. That is how you doing, Thomas?
Hey, doing well. How are you doing, man?
Doing well.
Good. So I'm walking into the room, so you can't. I tried to share it on TV, so I got to turn that down real quick.
Oh, no worries, no worries, no worries. So you were saying in the live chat, you were saying who's more likely to pass reparations, Mitch McConnell or Nancy Pelosi? So you want to pick up there, or we could pick up anywhere you want to?
That would be a good one, because I feel like the obvious answer there should be the Democrats, because they're what was it, 90, then 80, whatever, just a huge majority of Black people vote Democrat, right? So if they want to keep their current power, they have to hold that voting block, which you've said many times, right? So what you said was, who keeps losing? Well, Democrats have to keep that block in order to win. So of those two, the obvious choice should be Nancy Pelosi, because if threatened with it, they have to, right? They have to, because if they don't, then people start leaving, people start voting third parties, and now all of a sudden you have Bernie running as a third party or something and says, yeah, I'll do it, I don't care, right? Like, that sounds fine to me. And then there goes the entire Democrat Party, right? They lose 5-6 elections in a row. Like, to me, it's an obvious choice. No, it's not an obvious choice. Thomas, are you familiar with what a side chick is? Yeah, I think I do.
Okay, let me say this, and this might be this might hurt some people feeling, but Black voters are the side chick of the Democratic Party.
Who's the primary?
Right? You call it side chick, it allegedly. I've been told you call it side chick at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because she accepts that behavior. You understand what I'm saying? The woman that wants to be a wife says, no, you have to call me in advance, set a date, pick me up at 7 o'clock, take me out to a nice restaurant, you know what I'm saying? And woo me.
Okay.
It's the standard you set. So we've set the standard of being a side chick for the Democratic Party. So they're like, hold on, now you want to go out to a nice restaurant? You've been giving me all this loving for free for all these years. Why would I do that now?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, that I know that may be oversimplified.
No,
so
I think
the
I
hubris
see what
of the
you're
Democratic
saying,
Party. Yeah.
But they're
so
also...
it's the hubris of the Democratic Party. Like these people won't do anything. They'll vote when it's time to vote, because we'll pull out the boogeyman. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry. I
was going to say that. So I think the more likely I'm going to stand by what I said, and where I come from, right? Where I'm from is insanely I feel like the opposite of your last caller, right? So take voting percentages for who voted for who in the last election. Take San Francisco and flip it, and that's where I live, right? Okay. So from the most conservative end of it, a lot of the boogeyman, I promise you, is real, right? I'm going bald and I'm white, so I just gave up and said, nah, I'm not going to Karl Malone it forever. I'm just going to let it go. So now I get dragged into conversations that I don't want to be a part of, but they happen a lot. The boogeyman is real in small pockets of society still. It's really a real thing, right? So for me to think that Mitch McConnell is going to go against his base in that way, knowing that enough of them exist, there's no, like, to me, there's no way. There's no way a prominent, safe-seated conservative, like that, where it's that high of a percentage, that if it's anything like where I live, there's no possible way reparations are going to happen. And I'll stack on top of it. They're pissed off about the entire Black Lives Matter movement, right? They're pissed off about socialism. Right. So now you're going to stack on top of it another Black thing where these white people already feel threatened. They're like, no, we ain't doing anything different. Deal with whatever it is, right? Go fix your own problems. We're not dealing with it, right? So you're going to do another black thing, and then on top of it, you're going to do something that is going to be perceived as socialist, right? You're going to give money to people that are going to be said as undeserving. So now you're going to have the same conversation that you've had over 60 episodes now. You're going to have a 60 episode long conversation with this group that already is going to say middle finger and make a meme of it, and that meme's going to last more than those 60 episodes, right? So how do you combat that? I guess.
Let me jump in right there. You combat that by losing. Okay, you lose. I mean, because that's the things that faces Republicans. They understand that. That's why you saw the outreach to black men. That's why you saw. I mean, even though we don't know what was in the Platinum Plan, even for Republicans to be behind a candidate that would put up $500 billion allegedly, you know what I'm saying, to woo black voters, the progress is being made because the Republicans understand what's at stake here. They get it. They understand. As a whole. Now I would say this, I understand where you're coming from of, people might be frustrated with Black Lives Matter, but let's be clear, Black Lives Matter doesn't speak for black people.
No, it doesn't.
They speak for black, queer, queer first, transgender. So I don't think America, not say you specifically, but I don't think America has ever heard from serious black people. I think what they hear from is, and that's what I was talking about before, our politics is built into our identity. And once we can parse those two things and say, you know what, our politics is whoever has the most to offer us. And maybe, and look, there's two things. There's reparations and then there's tangibles, right? The Platinum Plan wasn't reparations, but it would appear to be tangible, because he actually put a number on it compared to what the Democrats said, we'll talk to you after the election. So you can see there's movement being made. And I think there's serious politicians and political analysts and political minds understand this, to say black people are becoming more politically savvy to, and it only takes a small number. When I say small number, I mean 10, 15% to sway the other 85% to move. And the Republicans have to do something, because if they do nothing, then we are headed towards a socialist / communist nation. So I mean, it's the blood is not on our hands, and I don't mean to speak for a whole group, but the blood is not on our hands. It's on whoever hands that needs to stand up and say, we need to make right of this wrong. And on a psychological level, and on a more esoteric level, I think that's what Mary Ann Williamson was saying, that this nation is being torn apart because they know they owe us. It's not a gift. They know they owe us. And it's like, okay, pride becomes before the fall. If you want to, be prideful and not make good on what is owed, so be it. But I'm just saying, I'm not, and that's why I want to switch the conversation for reparation to atonement, because I don't want to make it seem like black people are constantly asking for something. No, we have our demands set, and if you're willing to atone, then we can have a conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. And by all means, right? Like, everyone has a quote unquote wedge issue, right? For somebody, it's abortion, right? And this particular wedge issue is a billion times larger and goes throughout our entire history as a nation. It's obviously our biggest black eye, I'd say, right? So it's a huge wedge issue that I think is worth making it be that, making a stand for that, and making that be your wedge issue, right? What are you going to do for me? Right. Are you going to do this thing? All right, bet I'm with you. If it's not, all right, I'm out. I'm done. And that is one issue voters. Like, if the more people you can get on your side with this, the better. And the more one singularly focused they are about it, the better. I 100% agree that is an awesome idea. I have no problem with it. We started with which one of the two parties is more likely. I still don't, like, I can't see, like, I heard what you said. I couldn't see between the two major parties it flipping the other way. I really couldn't, like, at least from like
Well,
my
I'll
region,
say
I
this.
guess.
It's harder to. I'll say it like this: it's harder to get money for somebody you've been giving something for free for all these years. So that's where my logic is coming from. And to be honest with
Oh
you,
no, I get it.
Thomas, if both parties tell us, hell no, we're not giving you anything that's good for Black people. You know why? Because then we understand we have no friends and we have to build on our own. See, the dangerous thing that we have, and I'm just going to be completely honest here. The most dangerous thing that we have is waiting every 4 years to be saved. Maybe we need to hear from both parties. We ain't giving you crap. Cool. So now what are we going to do? Now we have to look inside ourselves to find a solution. So and I'll say this, and I don't condone everything that he says because I don't. That's for anybody. But that's one of the clips I played from Louis Farrakhan. He was saying, "Make them tell you I ain't giving you nothing."
Right.
We're gonna have to force people's hands to either be honest with us, and you can't be mad at anybody for being honest with you. That's the most. I mean, that's the best thing somebody can do for you to say. Both parties say, you know what, we agree. We're not giving you nothing. Cool. Well, when it's time to win and lose elections, don't look for us to bail you out. And we'll see who it's like a game of chicken. We'll see who breaks.
Right. No, I'm that'd be awesome. Like I say it sounds like you have an actual, if you can get enough people to hear your message and go along with it, if you get enough, and it doesn't have to be all or even close to all, just enough to sway an election or two or flip a district or something like that.
Right.
You've done it, right? The only way I could see you, do you know what I honestly don't know the answer to this, but I'm thinking you might. What is the voter turnout for black people? Do you know?
What do you mean by voter turnout?
Like number of blacks that are eligible to vote versus actually vote. Do you know what percentage that is?
Per capita? Yeah. Per capita, we have the highest turnout for any group, minority, really? Any racial group.
That's awesome.
Per capita.
That's 1,000%.
And what I'm saying is, you got to remember, we're talking about electoral college voting here. We're not talking about popular vote. And I'm a couple of minutes with you, Thomas, and I'm gonna ask you to hang around because I want to get back to you. But I got a couple people in the chat, but we're talking about very targeted. Look at how they allegedly won the election. They focus on Georgia, Detroit, Philadelphia. You know, we're not talking about all of the red states.
Right.
You know, we're talking about we're saying we could come in and flip a blue, because when you look at these county maps, it's a one blue dot in a sea of red in Pennsylvania. It's one blue dot in a sea of red in Florida. It's one blue dot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just to be repetitive in these so-called swing states, Atlanta. It's really one county that's a stronghold. Right. So if you say,
but it's a huge majority of the population. So don't.
And here's the power of the thing. The Republicans understand this one thing. If we just stay at home, they win. We don't even have to go. When we vote for them, that's a negative too. And that's why I was saying about the negative vote. And we really need to think about this. The Republicans, anything they get from the black community as far as votes is just icing on the cake. Right. You know, but if they can say, you know what, if we say we're staying at home, the Democrats saying mess their pants, because their whole voting strategy is built off that baked in percentage, whatever the percentage black people bring to their overall voting base. Right. So I want you to hang around, Thomas. I need to get to a couple more people. Okay. If you feel you want to chime in, just raise your hand. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
I appreciate all your honest feedback too. 1 second. Let's see here. I think Joe has been waiting for a while. Let's get Joe in here. That was a very good exchange. Because that is a real question. Like, I mean, what if they say they don't want to vote for you? Fine. Fine. Then we do it on our own. And I think that'll be even more helpful to our people. How you doing, Joe? I want you to hang around, Thomas. I need to get to a couple more people. Okay. If you feel you want to chime in, just raise your hand. Okay. All right. Joe, you got me in your background. 1 second. Let's see here. I think Joe has been waiting for a while. Let me see. I'm gonna mute Joe until he gets his audio straight. Russ, I'm coming to you. Let's see what we got in the live chat while Russ getting his audio straight. How you doing, Russ?
Oh wait, this Russ is me here.
Yes, that's you, sir.
All right, let me get your YouTube thing off. Yeah, I do. Hold on, man. Jeez,
No worries. No worries.
thank you for yeah, mute me. You got me right here. Hey, what's going on, Mo? How you doing? All right. Look, um, I'm uh, I'm gonna represent the Irish delegation here and say Happy St. Patrick's Day. Oh, I got kicked off, didn't I, Mo? Damn it.
I can't hear Mo either, though.
You can hear me? Hey, what's up? Who's this?
This is Tomas. I was just on, but I can't hear you either. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
yell right now. Mo, your audio ain't here.
Yeah, I went and muted my. I don't want to talk because I probably hate people.
Can y'all hear me now? Let me know in the live chat if you can hear me. Bro, I'm trying to tell you what is going on here. Okay, can you hear me or not? I see some people. If you can hear me, press 1. Let me see if I can bring some more people in. Let's see. All right, Joe. Okay. I don't know what's going on with this sound. It's crazy, but it's all right. It ain't gonna stop us. It ain't stop the good conversation we having. Yeah, I might just have to try StreamYard. I was going with Zoom because I'm familiar with it. Let me see if I can get one of more of the callers back.
Yo, what's up, Mo?
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. What's going on?
I don't know, man. The sound, man, they won't let me be great, but it's all right. We won't keep pushing. How you doing, Russ?
I'm doing great, Mo. It's great to be on. Yeah, I think it's the witches. You kind of invoked them way too much recently, and I think they're taking it out on you.
So what you got? What you want to talk about tonight?
I was gonna bring up that say tomorrow St. Patrick's Day. I'm gonna come from the Irish delegation. Just want to say big fan of Moe Factz and you in general. What do you think of St. Patrick's Day and as far as I don't know the way Irish people were in this country in general?
St. Patrick's Day. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. The only thing I know about St. Patrick's Day is what we celebrated in school, and that was you had to wear green and
Or get pinched or something,
you got
right? That
pinched
was
if you
about it.
didn't.
I think my
That
thing
that's
is,
about surface level. Yeah.
yeah, surface. I kind of came from New Orleans, where a very, I'd say integrated, but definitely completely separated city as far as that goes. It's just people seem to come together in a town over parades and parties and getting messed up. But St. Patrick's Day is definitely one of those bigger days where everyone, it didn't matter who you were involved. So I was just curious how it was outside of my bubble in Louisiana.
All right. So like I always say, I like to understand so I could be understood. So what's something I should know about St. Patrick's Day?
I think the legend of St. Patrick's Day is so confusing here. It seems like it's just an excuse that Irish people use to get drunk, but I get he was the saint that drove all the rats. It sounds like a very almost like Greek myth kind of story that was put on something as far as a myth, but that's all Irish people really had in this country, really, was to be like, well, we got St. Patrick and we have an excuse where everyone has to kind of cow to our old culture for a day.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, but you know what? That's an American phenomenon that we take holidays and just strip it from all their meaning and turn them into drinking affairs. So, um, I'm like Cinco de Mayo.
Right.
So Cinco de Mayo has been boiled down to margaritas, Coronas, and Mexican food.
That's kind of all it's for.
That's American.
It feels like, yeah, like it almost feels like there should be like an Italian day that lines up the same way, and it doesn't really happen. But
Well, they had Christopher Columbus was big for them.
ooh,
Christopher Columbus Day was very big for them. They had they had a lot of parades and whatnot, and that's why they're feeling a lot of pressure with the canceling of Christopher Columbus. So yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, I hope you enjoy your holiday. Because the only thing I know about it is just from surface level. Or historically, I know, but just personally, that's the level that of my interaction with it was just in school. If you didn't wear
okay,
anything green, you got pinched all day.
yeah, right, like But yeah, I want to say thanks, man. I really love the show, discovering it, and especially the assassination episodes with about Malcolm X and MLK. I learned so much from that. I have a show that talks about weird conspiracies and stuff like that, and I feel like a weird kinship. I think we're about the same age. You like to know where people are coming from. I was born in '77. I think you're
Yeah,
born in
where
like
you coming from?
80.
How you got here? That's another question I like to ask. How you got here?
Yeah, I was born like late 70s. I'm one of those Gen Xers that grew up in New Orleans, but I feel a weird
Mhm.
kinship with you because you have to pull clips and write a script to go around these clips and make them entertaining. And I've been doing that for a couple years the same way. And you, like, in a way, you inspire me a lot, the way you put your shows together. And it makes me want to get in those assassination episodes, especially because the 60s is known for hippie movement and in 4 major assassinations that we can just whisk away like nothing. And the way you put the Martin Luther King assassination together, I've never heard it like that, and I feel like I would have, especially I maybe just following JFK too much in that whole era.
No, I appreciate that. You want to promote your channel, or you have a platform you want to promote?
Yeah, I've been actually been commenting in your chat tonight. It's the first time live. I was Unbelievers podcast. I was in there. That was our show.
Oh,
I
okay.
was
That's
kind of
you. Okay. Oh, yeah. I can't tie it to your name. So
no,
yeah.
I
Okay. All
know
right. Cool.
that that's why my audio was all messed up earlier because I was trying to listen while doing it, and you'd think someone who calls himself a podcaster could pull it off, but yeah, I just want to say thanks, and I had to pop in. I've never watched it live, and I'm definitely going to pimp it more. But yeah, I just want to say, big shout out to you.
Yeah. And then, like I said, we do mostly discussions over here. And what I meant by how'd you get to the channel, like, what was your path? Like, was it the
Oh,
No
I don't.
Agenda show? Was it the Star Report? Was it?
No, it was no agenda. I have a co-host who is a knight, and he's done all that. He turned me on to no
Okay.
agenda years ago, and yeah, just hearing you from there, it ended up at Moe Factz, and just binged it hard in the last couple weeks. Well, actually, last couple of months. You become my workout thing, and
Okay.
now that I've already slacked on working out from the new year, I feel bad because I listen to you. I'm like, I should be like on a bike or something doing this. Like, this is how you listen to.
All right. So yeah, multitasking.
Yeah, and feeling like you want to talk to someone about the things you talk about, but not really having anyone to. Like, what do I do with this information? Like, that's the big part of hearing you and learning a different perspective that me is just some white dude doesn't really know. And but I stand at the place where I'm like, well, what do I do about it? Like, what is my reaction to this?
Yeah. So I mean, the only thing you do, like I said, is just that seek first to understand, then to be understood, right? So I mean, that's what you came in. You came in with questions, like many other people come in with questions, see what the conversation is about, and then we can work from there. I appreciate you calling in, Russ. I'm gonna mute you if you want to say anything else. Just raise your hand. I'll get back to you. Okay.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for having me, man.
All right. Thank you for calling in. Have a good night. Let's see. I brought AKW Beats in. And I brought Wheezy in if y'all want to unmute. Let's get back. Okay, so let me just get right bottom. Natasha says I trust no politician. That's a good way to be. How you doing?
Oh,
yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Man,
How you
I'm
doing?
tripping. I got it on mute. What's good, man? AKW Beats, AKWbeats.com. Moe Factz. What's good, bro?
I'm doing well.
Man,
How about
I'm
yourself?
wonderful, man. I'm wonderful, man. 5 new uploads on the channel. Y'all go check it out. Y'all already know. YouTube.com/AKWbeats. Yeah, go check it out, man. Excellent producer over here, man. Excellent. Trust me. What's going on, though, Mo, man?
Oh, just talk about this Michelle Obama, you know what I'm saying, taking a quick swipe at Meghan Markle and Oprah. We got down the table. We got let's see what else we had. We had the Vancouver connection.
Yeah, I saw that.
The clip didn't play. I'll probably play that on the show 61. I'll probably play that talking about that and just possibly 2024 Meghan Markle and Kim K running against each other. That's a possibility. And then Vivica A. Fox says Harry is light-skinned. So where you want to pick up at?
All right, let's start with Vivica, man, because we need to stop this crap. We need to stop. That's an old way of thinking. They always want to throw a white person in. Oh, bring him to the barbecue. Come on, he's a light skin and all that, man. Cut that stuff out, Vivica, man. You know, well, maybe she don't know better. Maybe she don't know better, but she need to cut that stuff out.
She does know better. She does.
I mean, if you keep doing the same things, do you really know better?
Yes, but that's the thing. It's like when you're so starved for attention. It's what did he do? I don't understand what he did. I mean, he took up for his wife allegedly. I don't think he did, but just say he did. That's what you're supposed to do. If somebody's attacking your wife, you're supposed to stand up for him. So I don't understand what you're supposed to, and then go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that the case you laid out in the podcast was I mean, that's better than most journalists, man. Like for real. You know what I'm saying? And making them, man, I don't know.
He really shut her down when he was like, "We're not talking about that." You know, I mean, of course, she would probably love to point fingers at somebody in the family, but he's like, "We're not talking about that." So if you're not, if you can't, you got to pick a side. Either you're going to point fingers at the system of white supremacy, or you're going to aid and abet for it. So, I mean, pick a side. And for somebody to come out there and say, "Oh, he's light-skinned," it's like, I mean, what that does is cheapen the value of being in our group. That somebody can just easily come into our group by taking I don't know, a certain action. I don't see that.
Exactly. Like with the Bill Clinton. Oh, Bill Clinton, he's the first black I hated that the first time I ever heard it. I hated it. And I was a jit when it happened. Like I was really young, maybe like 5 years old, 6 years old when I first heard that. Like, it's not a black man. You know what I'm saying? is
And what was the reason why they called him a black man? Let's see if you remember. Why did they say he was the first black president?
come on, man, with the saxophone and the weed and all that stuff. Like, get out of here. That don't make him. That I have no.
Yeah,
like,
because
I
he
got
smoked weed.
no. Yeah, he smoked weed. He played a saxophone, and yeah, he's jazzy. He's Miles Davis, white Miles Davis. Like, get out of here, man. Get the hell out of here with that, man. This is a white man who ran drugs in Arkansas. That's who he is.
And allegedly has a half black son that he doesn't claim. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Allegedly.
It is what it is. Oh, this one thing I want to say.
Also, I also heard that. Yeah, I also heard that. Oh, you know, he getting top in the White House. He got to be a black man. I mean, that just lowers the standard. That's your identity of a black man, a guy that smokes weed, likes jazz music, and getting a sexual act performed on him. That's the identity of a black man, huh?
Exactly. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Even though I know some black men, don't get me wrong, who love jazz music, who love to smoke and love to get top. But I'm just saying, that don't make him a black guy. That just make him a guy, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But
it's sad. I mean, it was really sad. Yeah.
It's super sad. But I'm gonna get out of here because I want everybody else to get to their thing and get back to the show. I'm really loving it. I love these talks. I love the podcast. I love it all. But the last time we talked, I didn't get a chance to tell you what my favorite episode was. And my favorite
what is that? Share with us.
Okay. And this is, and my man mentioned it earlier, the Martin Luther King episode. That was the episode that made my, it dropped my jaw, made my eyes open up. And now it's like, I don't see anything with regular lenses anymore because Martin Luther King was a meme at the end of the day. At least.
Yeah, until he started
him. You know what I'm saying?
Until he started waking up and started seeing that he was being, I don't say used, but he was being steered and handled to push certain narratives. And that's why he made that statement that he integrated us into a burning house, because he realized nobody has best interests at heart and everybody only want to use them what they use them for. And that's really the epitome of the black politics of today.
Exactly. Oh man, we could be here another hour. Don't even get me started on the black politicians of the so-called black politicians of today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's frustrating. That's why I can only do it like once or twice a week. I listen to the show, I jump into No Agenda, but then other than that, I can't take it. Like, it's like, oh man, these people are awful people, man. But that's all I got, man. I just want to, give my 2 cents like I always do. I want everybody to go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AKWBeats. I'm all over social media, AKW Beats. You type it in, you find me. You can Google me. I hate when people say Google me, but forget that. Google me, you'll find me. And yeah, get at me, man. Moe Factz, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
All right, keep making the slaps, but I'll holler at you later, okay?
Listen, man, get at me. You already know. All right.
All right. Peace. Have a good night. All right. So yeah. So Landmark, you said, "Wow, I'm gonna have a conversation with himself." Can you not hear me? Are you joking? Yeah, Brandon. Everything is corrupted. Natasha said, "We see they know that, but instead of trying to come up with solutions, they're trying to use concepts to dangle a carrot." I mean, our request is very simple. I don't know why they're trying to act like they don't know what's up. Carlton Way 1 says, "What's up, bro? This the day one. Megan married to a family that created white supremacy is and it's complaining about racism." Yeah, I don't understand that. Yep. So let's see. Okay, we got Ned. Let me let Ned in and see what we want to talk about. I heard somebody unmuted. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna get up out of here in a few minutes. Take a couple more calls. Let me see. Let me post that link in the chat one more time, just in case anybody wants to call in. Yeah. Tom, I thought I heard something. I didn't want to say that, Thomas, but I thought I heard something wild going on. Hey, Weezy, you're unmuted. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Blessed, man. Can't complain.
What you want to talk about tonight? Hey, Ned, I'm gonna get to you next, okay?
I was just curious your thoughts. I'm sure you've probably seen it. Any general thoughts on what Tamir Rice's mom had to say about the Tamika Mallory Grammy performance?
Well, I think a lot of these families are realizing that they have been used. I don't want to get into that too specifically tonight. I might say that for the next live, but I'll just touch on it lightly because of what happened with Michael Brown's father as well. I think these families are finally coming in. These families are finally seeing. I think they had the gut feeling, but they're seeing that these people came in. They come into your home. They have conversations with you. They say they're on your side, but then once they start to get the clout, they leave you behind, and then they go on and move on up the ladder. So I think that's the case. Joe, I'm gonna get to you in a second after Weezy. So I mean, what did you take away from it?
Same thing. I mean, but really, well, your perspective I agree with, but when I saw it, I'm like, it was good to see that from perspective of somebody actually voicing and saying something. And to your point, I mean, people gotta speak up. You gotta speak up, use your voice. For me, it was refreshing to see. Just speak your mind. That's it. If you continue to be silent, the truth won't get out there. And I haven't seen anything on a follow to Tamika Mallory, but I haven't seen any. My apologies, what have you, so on. So I'm interested to see that. But it was just refreshing for somebody, again, to speak up and voice their opinion as somebody who was within that circle for a brief period.
Well, not to speak bad on Tamika Mallory or anything like that. I will say this. I mean, she was inside the Democratic apparatus, and you had to get on the Grammy stage to shame Joe Biden into doing something for you. You don't have any communications with the administration or anybody in it. That was a bad look, because that kind of acts, you would think you have access to make that make that request, but obviously they don't, and that goes to show you that talk after election, the same thing that Ice Cube dealt with. You see how it goes. Once they get elected, then it's like, oh, we'll talk to you in 4 years, and then it's talk to us at the election, then we'll talk to you in 4 years, and it just keeps going, and they keep kicking the can down the road. So I think that's what's going on. Anything else you got? I think you called in before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I called in the last live, I believe.
Yeah, your mom put you onto the show, correct?
No, actually, one of my peers put me on to Moe Factz, and that's actually got to over to No Agenda. But I would like to say, though.
Oh, so you came in through Moe Factz first. Cool. That's cool.
I do want to say I have no ill will towards Tamika. Nothing. I love seeing Black folks come together. At least that would it appear just the Grammys. That kind of was off-putting, and then for her mom to follow that. I'm like, all right. Good for her.
Yeah. So I appreciate you calling in, Weezy. Man, that's cool that you came through the Moe Factz doorway first, and then got introduced to the other shows that's associated with it. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna put you on mute. If you got anything else you want to say, just raise your hand, okay?
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right, have a good night. All right, so let's see. I think Joe, I'm gonna come to you in a second. I think we had somebody to come in on the phone, but they were having a conversation with somebody else. So I'm gonna ask them to unmute. And I guess I'll go to Joe. Let me go ahead and go to Joe now. Okay, Joe, I'll get to you next. 503, how you doing?
Hey, good, Mo. I just want to say, I love your show, love everything you do. I had a question kind of going back to episode 44 and 45.
Okay.
So you really kind of clicked with me when you kind of compared Trump to the wrestling and WWF and WWE. Just kind of that heel and that whole narrative and story, and kind of clicked with me, like, the country, they got the country so set up, split, divided so evenly, Like there's sorry, that was a phone, but Trump just always had this way of saying the perfect thing. It seemed like to divide, where one people see it one way and other people see it the other way. And the other thing is people think that Trump is the enemy of the deep state. But the way I kind of see it is like it seems like Trump is kind of playing to a script for them. Does that make sense to you?
Well, they had that theory where there was like, we'll let him in, be the bad guy, and then we'll beat him. And then I'm sure, he played that role because he knew that he couldn't win on policies. So he was saying he played. I mean, he was saying he did play into the some of his fan base as a wrestler plays to their base of being the bad guy. So I agree with you on that point. I think the problem with him is that he wasn't. Go ahead.
Did you ever see that story where he like met with Bill Clinton like a couple weeks before declaring to run for president?
Yes, I saw that. I think it was in the Time magazine, I believe.
Something like, yeah, I don't remember where I saw it, but I mean, I just remember seeing it at the time when he was running, and just thinking that it seemed like so strange to me. Like, what is he meeting with Bill Clinton about? What is he talking to them about? So is he kind of ultimately working with them? I mean, he's been a Democrat his whole life. Are they ultimately just all kind of stories being weaved together to kind of like pit two sides of the country against each other, while in the background they're kind of like selling off the the wealth of the middle and the lower class and people, and kind of robbing people and trying to kind of pull the wool over people's eyes while having that wrestler show in front of us.
Hold on 1 second. They're saying they can't hear me now. 1 second, okay? Hold on 1 second, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
What in the world? Let me make sure they can hear me. Yeah, so I don't want them to miss our conversation that we're having. So let me just make sure I typed in the chat, see if they can hear me. But yeah, I think you bring up great points about that.
I just always kind of thought that it seemed to me like Trump was never really on the side of the the people that he was claiming to represent. And I always see like I'm sorry, I know you're doing your thing. I don't want to keep talking.
No, they can hear me. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Now, I don't think it was that. Just me. I don't think Trump winning was part of the plan. I think maybe Trump running. What was that term they used? The clown candidate or Piper candidate? It was some term they had for Trump where it was like, let him be the Republican. Let him be the Republican nominee, and he'll be the easiest guy to beat. And I think because that's why the news media fed him like billions and billions of dollars of worth of promo through the Republican primaries. I do agree on that. But I think that they thought that, they would never lose to him. And I think that was the frustration of once they did lose to him, it was like, oh, crap, what do we do now? And I don't think they really had a plan for it. But, yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe they put boosting him up to.
I wonder if they put him in place to kind of like turn other people off so much from that to where it's like, okay, people are going to have to come and run back to the establishment and just take, just to get away. We saw what happens when you let some outsider into the house. Now, now everybody just kind of got to go with him. Go ahead.
I'll say this, and I'll say this. I don't think Trump was good for any political party because one, what he did by exposing what the Democrats was up to wasn't good for them, because you never heard the talk of communists and Marxists so openly until the rise of Antifa and / Black Lives Matter. Okay, it was Operation Pied Piper. Thank you, Rachel Miller. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it was Operation Pied Piper. So it was, let him bring all the Republicans. Let him win the Republican nomination, and then we'll beat him easily. But I don't think they understand the sentiment of the people. The people are in favor of a populist candidate, and I think that's why they had to run a Trump light candidate in Joe Biden. That's the closest thing they had to a Trump candidate. So, Yeah, I don't think that
So,
they wanted him to win,
so do you think
but definitely
more that
win the election, but the nomination, yes. Go ahead.
so I guess I always kind of thought there was like two scenarios. Like I always been kind of confused by Trump. So I thought there was basically like kind of what I just said, or basically that he was part of that circle and then got kind of cast down or whatever, and then he was just like screw them, I'm going to go beat them at their own game and kind of expose them just for spite or ego. Or do you think it's more probably something like that?
Yeah, like I said, I think they would let him win, destabilize the Republican Party, but what he did was energize the Republican Party and really hijack the Republican Party, because if you listen to the newcomers and the people frustrated with how the establishment is running, people are starting to see that they're two wings on the same bird. And a lot of people are even. I mean, you even heard what was the lady's name? I think Sarah Silverman. She's frustrated with the Democrats. You're starting to see more and more people that's starting to see that this is a one party government, and the people are tired of it.
Yeah, I am for sure, man. I trying to spread that message.
Okay, where you calling from? How'd you? Where'd you come?
Oregon?
Where you calling from? And how'd you find about the show? How do you find out about the show?
Well, I'm kind of the same way. Listen to I've found Adam from No Agenda over on Joe Rogan. Started listening to No Agenda for a while, and then fell into your show, and love all the three of them. So try to pay attention to people that say try to speak truthfully and try to be real with people. And I mean, I found Hotel Jesus from you, and well, actually from Rogan too, I guess. But
right.
So yeah, I'm just trying to expand the people that seem like they're trying to at least be a little bit honest,
And if you notice, my politics differ from Hotep's, that differs from Adam, that differs from all these different people, but we're all saying that we're tired of these charades and this one world, and then I say one world party, but that's probably a true Freudian slip. Yeah, it's a one world party. I think that's what we can start calling it from now. It's not even a one party, one political party, but it's a one world party, and they're all pushing. I mean, you look at the money situation when they did with the stimulus. All of this money, and the people get a little piece. And luckily, God bless that I'm not in need of the stimulus. But if you say we're gonna pay for it later, we might as well get the bulk of the lion's share of the money. No, it goes to all of these special interests.
Yeah, no, it's all. I can't believe the stuff that they're doing and they're getting away with. And I look at my paycheck and I see the money the federal government takes out every time, and try to look at what I'm getting back for it. It doesn't feel very good right now. So.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing, right?
Even they're supposed to be like protecting us, and then you see all these stories about how all these foreign interests are hacking our systems and getting our information. It's like, so how safe are they really keeping us from anything, right? Like
they're not. The only way we win, and this goes for everybody that's listening, is to have conversations with people that you normally wouldn't have conversations with, and go into that conversation willing to learn. Now, you might not learn anything. I mean, but as my uncle used to say, you can learn anything from anybody if it's nothing but what not to do. But I think
I've learned a ton.
That's what I want to do with this platform.
Yeah.
But that's what I want to do with this platform, is to open it up. This is what more of the lives are, to hear from people. That weekend with me and Thomas, he brought a different viewpoint to the table, but then we were able to hash it out. And I mean, what it does is it sharpens your thinking. And if somebody says something that shakes the foundation of what you believe, sometimes you might have to revisit it, and not say you had to get rid of the thought, but have to even strengthen your why you think it's so.
Absolutely. I try to challenge myself all the time, man. I get into conversations with people, and I'm not as good as some of the people, like let's do like, say like an Adam or someone like that, or you that has, a lot of good knowledge and background information. So I try to listen to all kinds of sources and try to see how full of shit I am, I mean, I listen to I listen to like someone like Jimmy Dore, who's a progressive, and I don't really necessarily agree with all of his politics, but I feel like, again, that he at least speaks honestly and is true to, himself and what he believes, right? Like, he's not trying to bullshit me about who he is. So,
and that's the point. People is coming from an honest place. As long as the person coming from an honest place, even if you disagree with them, you know where they stand, and it's how how to navigate a conversation with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you calling in. You have a good night. I'm gonna mute you. If you want to say anything, you should raise your hand. I'm gonna get out of here in about another 10-15 minutes. Let me get back to Joe for a second. I think he had his hand raised. Anything else in the live chat? I think they're talking amongst themselves. How you? Are you back, Joe? How you doing?
I am back. Yeah. Hey, called in a couple days ago. I was a little tipsy, so apologize. But
no worries.
You're still killing it. I know all us white guys sound the same, but I want to take it off the politics a little. And I'm wondering, how do you deal with? Is there a thing like old white grandparents? Everyone thinks they're racist. Like, do the black families think their grandparents are racist? Like, just curious.
I'll say this. I think older generations were more honest. They didn't grow up in this PC culture that we grow up in, where we have to self-edit and couch our statements. And I don't mean to offend anybody before you say it. I think they were more straightforward. I mean, if you watch older television shows, I know it's maybe not a best representation, but people's dialogue was more straightforward. It was like, this is how I feel, and I may not like what you're saying, but you have to hear me out. I think that's a more generational thing than a racial thing.
Yeah, I mean, I racist isn't really the right word. I think it's like how you said it once about like nepotism, because like I had a cousin who dated a black man once, and my grandma, she did not like that. She thinks that you should stick within your own race, but to think she's a racist, I mean, she doesn't have a problem if one of her nurses is like a Filipino or black. I mean, that doesn't bother her, but it's kind of like, maybe like you say, you want your grandchildren to look like you. It's kind of
of course. I mean, and the thing is, see, that's why we got to be careful when we throw these words around like racist. It's because, okay, say if, for instance, if I have a grandparent that wants me to bring home somebody that looks like me, then I have to judge them with the same standard. I mean, I think that's the problem, that people want to have sliding standards for, say, well, my grandma said the same thing your grandma says, but your grandma's racist. I mean, now I think the problem is when you get into the point of somebody's inferior or less than, that's the problem. But if it's a preference thing to say, you know what, we want to keep, and that's why I say I don't really have a problem with what the Queen of England said. If she wants her family to be made up a certain way, she has the right to that belief. So
that was pretty awesome. I thought, listening to that last podcast, you talking about how the royal family, I mean, yeah, I mean, they just want to stay, what someone in the chat just said, right, stay relevant. I mean, like, they want to, if you don't look like, I don't know, let's just say, looking back 80 years, grandma's white and you're, like a darker, let's just say a colored person.
So
I mean, would you feel,
so all I wonder, say is that this is part of their identity too, right? I mean, they're, it's bigger than race with them, because if that was the case, then okay, I'll say it like this. They were more willing to let their grandson marry a multiracial woman that had royal bloodlines than they would let her marry a completely white woman with no bloodline connection. You see how that works? So
that sounds a little bit like supremacy.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
we had to ask that. But I appreciate you calling in, Joe. You calling in from North Dakota, South Dakota?
Not quite Montana, but just
Montana. I knew it was one of those.
Yeah. Shout out to my Riz. And thanks for making this great conversation, Mo.
I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna put you on mute, and I got some other people to get around to. I'm gonna unmute you, Rachel. So go ahead and have your sound cut off in the background. And I got a couple of hands up. I'll get to y'all, and then I'll close out. Okay. How you doing, Rachel? I wonder if it's Meghan Markle.
Hey, how you doing?
You, Rachel. Oh, it said Rachel. I was assuming. Did I gender you? My bad.
I'm on.
See, I might get canceled. For
I'm
that.
on my girlfriend's computer. It's all right. How are you doing?
Right. I'm doing good. Skip, I'm going to get to your question in 1 second. Go ahead.
I just wanted to talk solutions real quick, and like how is there anything that you see a way out of this system? Because I'm down in Richmond, Virginia. I'm not too far from you, but I'm working on some things down here, and just wanted to see what you had working as far as how to find a way out of this bullshit system that we all find ourselves trapped in.
We're doing it. We're doing it right now.
That's true.
And you know, that might sound, no, we're actually doing, because when you can say, okay, I understand where that person's coming from. Okay, this is a non-starter for me. This is a non-starter for you. Okay, where's our common ground? We can find common ground.
Mm-hmm.
So once we find that common ground, then we can say, okay, what can we work on together to move forward?
Exactly. So
and it's just simple as that. And go ahead.
What's that next step after the first step?
What's the next step after the first step? Then we start voting our interests.
After we find common ground, then we vote for our interests. But then, how do we hold those people accountable, or because my thinking lately is that we just need to build an economy that makes this economy irrelevant and totally unnecessary.
Yeah, well, yes, true too. Here's the hard part. I think we let the horses out. We're trying to close the barn door after the horses are out, and these tech companies are so big. That's why I said we had to vote for politicians that are willing to bring them under control. That's the first step. Monopolies.
Okay.
We had to start attacking that. You know, we need to start having candidates talk about taking down the monopolies that these large tech companies have. That way competitors can come up. Because you look at the case with how they just ban everybody for social media.
Yeah.
And that's why to go just back to the suppression conversation. I wasn't speaking about voter suppression. I'm talking about the suppressing of people's way to communicate. That would be the equivalent of if AT&T cut off your cell phone service because of the conversations you were having. These tech companies are monopolies now, and they're utilities. So we need to start voting for candidates that see them in that way. Two, we need to start voting for candidates that support keeping jobs on shore, because then that makes the American tax base larger. It employs more Americans. And then, from that point, then we have more capital to, you know what I'm saying? It becomes cyclical and it's self-feeding. Like, more tax dollars, more revenue, then you can control your local government.
I mean,
it really comes down to politics, but we have to stop voting for things we don't agree with.
The one issue that I have with the first thing that you're saying is that every politician that I hear that's talking about reform in the tech industry is talking about some sort of repeal or reform of Section 230. And kind of what I worry about there is if you remove Section 230, then all of a sudden any tech startup that is competing in the same space is liable for the speech of the people on those platforms. So it kind of seems like go ahead.
That's one component. That's one component of what you're referring to. Now, I think that's what we have to start thinking of removing, and we have to start thinking about, okay, how can we rewrite this to protect the small startups, but also take the monopolies away from the large companies that can just say, you know what, due to our terms of services, we don't agree with what you said. You're booted off.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
okay.
there is no competition for Facebook. There is no competition for Instagram or Twitter or these things. I mean, you could say, yeah, you want to go to these smaller platforms, but I'm on YouTube right now. Why? Because YouTube is the malls of eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
I put my kiosk up and people walk through the mall and they're like, well, I like that. You know, that just like, okay, saying, okay, you just set up on the sidewalk or set up in that back alley and, you know, you're not going to get the same traffic. So that's why we had to make these companies more responsible.
I don't know. All the good stuff tends to happen in the back alley, though.
You sound like a partier.
Yeah, used to be. Yeah, I don't know.
But like I said, I think we get frustrated when we start thinking about what step 2, 3, 4. Right now, we just need to realize we need to figure out where we're at. And that's anytime I work with electronics, right? I used to work with electronics robots. And when you teach a robot, you have to establish what home point is, right? What's that coordinate of home? And then from that coordinate, you can find where you're at, you know what I'm saying? From that point, you say, okay, this is 0, 0. And then, you know, then you can move from the X, Y, Z axes to figure out where you're at. So what I'm saying is we have to figure out where home is right now. Where is the initial point where we start? And I think that's what we're doing right now. That's why I didn't want to be facetious when I said that, because us being up at 11:30 at night trying to figure out what the solution is, that is part of the solution. Because we could just be in our bed like, you know what, apathetic and like, it is what it's going to be, you know. So I think we're headed in the right direction.
I agree. I got a lot more to say and maybe chat with you about in the future, but I'm gonna let you move on to somebody else for now.
Okay, I appreciate it. One question, or two questions. What's your favorite episode, and then how'd you find out about the show?
I'm yeah, the last one was really good. Favorite episode, that's hard to say. Favorite episode is hard to say. Fine. Maybe the last one, just because I mean, when you got into archons and witchcraft and all that, that's like right up my alley. And I was like, oh my God, like Moe's going fucking deep right now. And yeah, like the last hour of the last episode might have been my favorite. And I got to y'all through No Agenda.
Okay.
Through Grimerica.
I appreciate that. I think I heard somebody in the background too. Do you listen with somebody? Are you? I mean,
yeah, it's my girlfriend Rachel.
Put you on blast.
Hi, Mo. We love you.
I appreciate it. So y'all see, I love to hear that families and couples listening together, because as you know, it's hard to find entertainment or information that is not polarizing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad that I can provide something where you can sit down with your spouse or your family members or people from different, like your mom or, you know, different generation levels, and find something to agree upon.
Yeah, it sparks great conversation for us.
See, that's all we got to do. See, we went inside the house, and I would say this in closing with you all: if we start fixing inside the house, then every house will be repaired. And we'll get on, you're saying, on a similar mindset.
Agreed.
And from there, then it goes and builds communities, and community builds states, and states build nations. So this is the beginning.
All right.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
All right. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
You
Okay.
Too, you too.
All right. I think Ned had his hand raised. Let's unmute him. Let's see if we got anybody else. I think we're going to wrap up here in a few. All right, let's see. Ned wants to get unmuted. Okay, got one more person. And then see.
Brother Mo, what's going on, man?
I think Thomas, yes. How you doing? Thomas and Ned, I'm going to get back to y'all after this call here.
All right.
I heard somebody say, what's up? Okay, Ned, okay, it's you again. Okay, go ahead, Ned.
Well, all I really had to say, I'm gonna be quick because really I need to be in bed. I gotta be up at 4 a.m. But
Oh man.
yeah, I well, this was an opportunity to be able to catch you, and a lot of people bringing up some very good topics. Well, some good things on your topic to add to the conversation, and I would just have to say that we also, like you just stated, not being polarized. It's a good place to have an understanding in your mind where you're not polarized to the left and right paradigm, and perhaps maybe see past that. And there's a Hegelian dialectic going on now. Maybe not everyone would agree with that, but just being polarized alone and choosing a left or a right side, you're forcing yourself to agree with someone that you really don't know their alternative motives or what they're really up to. So they got people under, in my opinion, under a some sort of hypnosis spell, with media pumping fear into it and making everyone believe things that aren't fully truth to that degree. Which, if you look up the definition of Hegelian dialectic, that's what that is.
And that's exactly where they want us on the polls. And here's the thing: you mean to tell me there's not a pro-life, anti-gun, larger government? I mean, like, why does it have to be so cut and dry? I mean, that it's like you claim a gang and you have to buy all that they're about, instead of saying, you know what, I like this part about this party, but I like this part about this party, but I like this part about this party. And then, whoever the majority is on each topic, they win, instead of saying, you know what, I'm red team or I'm blue team and I bang whatever set, you know what I'm saying, I'm in. And that's non-value adding. I'm glad you brought that up, Ned. I got a couple more calls I got to get to. I appreciate you chiming back in.
You're good. That's really all I wanted to jump in and say. So you good, brother. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon, man.
I appreciate it. Have a good night and get some rest. Yeah, you got to be up at 4. That's early. This is The Breath. I'm coming to you, and then Thomas, I'll wrap up with you. I can see your hand up. I think somebody said Agent General Magnum. Who's agent? Do we have an agent in the group chat, or are you speaking about me? If you're speaking about me, I asked you to call in and say it to my face. All right, go ahead.
Yo, Mo, can you hear me?
This is The Breath. Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
Good. I'm glad to finally connect with you. I've been listening to your show since episode 40. I got heard about you through No Agenda, and I've actually started going back, and I've started back at 1, and I'm like up to, I think, Black Debate 23, I believe. And so I'm going to lap myself and catch up. I mean, I find myself listening to these things more than once because it's just so dense with information,
And that's
I'm your.
And can you speak up a little bit? I think you're a little low.
Sorry, I'll lean into my laptop here. How's that? Is that any better?
That's perfect. Awesome. Yeah, because I want to hear what you got to say.
So, well, you always ask, how people got here and all their stuff. I'm your average white dude, like a lot of people call him today. I was a Hokie, moved out west, and was a liberal for I was younger, but I kind of, as that old saying, if you're not conservative when you're older, you have a brain type of thing, and you kind of. Again, it wasn't my ideals that converged. It was pretty much everybody else went batshit crazy, as you've noticed. So it's like it's kind of hard to defend a lot of the circles that I'm still in, kind of in that hip music crowd, for lack of a better description. People are so set in their ways, and there was a meme that came up on the No Agenda a month ago, and it was like hippies in the 60s. It was like they had a sign, question authority, and the next sign was hippies in the 90s. If you question authority, you're racist. It's just like I've actually been run out of some communities I'm in because people use that as a default thing. If you try to share some of the stuff I learned from like an example is I brought up an example of someone like, well, the civil rights movement wasn't really all that. A lot of African Americans lost social standing, or their decades of social climbing stopped suddenly when that happened. And then people twist that into shit like, oh yeah, you're racist. You think it should never happen. And it's like, there's so many Dimension B people out there. It's kind of terrifying in a way, you know. And it's like, especially with the vaccine thing, it's polarizing people even more. Now they're trying to make people medical pariahs. It's terrifying. But sorry for rant so much. But anyway, thanks for all you do. I'm learning a lot, and I can't wait to donate. I haven't done that yet, but I will be shortly.
Okay. And just remind people you can donate at just since you brought it up, you can go to MoFundMe. That's MoeFundme.com, or go to MoeFactz.com /donate. We know we're a value for value operation. So just feel whatever value you find, just send it back our way. And I'd like to address one thing if I'll let you out the line. When people do that and say, "Oh, you're a racist," they cheapen the word racist. And that does Black people no favors, because when we do encounter racism and real racists, it's just like, oh, he's a racist. I mean, like, just like it's something acceptable, or I mean, it's kind of like the little boy who cried wolf. People keep crying wolf, that nobody's gonna believe you when it's time to actually be believed. So that does frustrate me a lot.
Absolutely.
We should really be careful how we use words, and sometimes when I'm very careful about the word I use, because a word easily pops into my head, but there's a better word. And I think if we're very careful with our words, then we could be taken differently, because somebody might say, you know what, instead of hearing you out to say what you said was true with the civil rights movement and integration, a lot of Black businesses would put out of business. A lot of Black schools and Black teachers were put out of work, because when they integrated schools, they gave us the white books and the white schools. And what I mean by that, the quality that whites were having at the time. But then they said, you also got to take our teachers and our principals and our superintendents. Whereas we didn't have the same, maybe same facilities and same learning materials, but you had teachers that really cared for their students, because they could empathize and they understood what they were coming up from. So yeah, it was very destabilizing, the civil rights movement. But at the same time, if you're being taxed, you should have equal rights. And I think that's what it was an overreach. It's like, okay, yeah, you want to have equal rights. Okay, you can have the cup of coffee, but in the better books, but then you had to have it in our terms. So I think that was frustrating about that whole situation.
I see a lot of parallels, honestly, right now with the amnesty and the border stuff. It's like they'd rather, the quote unquote white supremacists, but basically what you call the multi-millennial white power structure that really has nothing to do with race. They want to drag everybody down to third world level instead of elevating the people to first world level. It's like, there was another meme I saw on No Agenda, and I hate to keep dropping these, but man, some of these are so fitting. It was like a liberal sees a nice house and they say, I can't believe people live like that. And a conservative sees a nice house and says, I wish everybody could live like that. It's just a whole different change of philosophy.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't understand about when people say, that they're supportive of Marxist or communism. That is equality, but nobody has anything, and that's not the equality I'm trying to have. I think we should have equality of opportunity, where we all have, you say, a fair shot at achieving our dreams without being impeded. But to say I'm going to take everything away from everybody, it's kind of like when your mama said I'm gonna whoop everybody's butt to get the right one. It's like, hold on. It's three of us. That means two of us are gonna get a butt whipping for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand that logic. But that's the logic that they operate with. I appreciate you calling in and making some great points and bringing up some great topics. I'm gonna mute you. I'm about to wrap up here. I'm gonna get back to Thomas, and then I'm gonna wrap on the show. Appreciate you calling in again. Okay.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I get in one more question?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just quick, what do you think is going to be the result of the Derek Chauvin trial? I personally think he's going to walk in Minneapolis. What do you think happened here?
I don't think he's gonna walk. If I was a betting man, I think they're probably going to convict him, and it'll be something similar to the Botham John case, where the sentence won't be what is expected. I don't think.
So basically,
I don't think. Go ahead.
You think they get murdered too with a really reduced sentence, something to kind of please everybody?
Because they can't. If they let him off. See, the Democrats understand if they let him off, then that makes them the enemy, the bad guy. You don't have Orange Man Bad to blame anymore. And I think the reaction from a complete walk will be so devastating that it'll set off riots that they can't control. I think they like to have chaos, but control chaos. So of course, I think they will. This is just my opinion. I think they have to. I mean, the tape was so damning. I mean, we did see the Rodney King trial, so I mean that's one thing. But I think the tape was so damning that they have to get a conviction. But then they'll say, "Well, it wasn't murder." I mean, you see him already setting it up. Well, he didn't really die from the knee on his neck. I mean, but so they'll find the middle ground, and nobody will be satisfied. Which would further to the chaos of the control chaos of still pitting one side against the other. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it's kind of shocking they even had the thing in Minnesota. That sounds ridiculous to me, but whatever. But
yep.
Yeah,
so,
man.
All right, I thank you for calling in.
Keep going.
Okay, I will do that. All right, appreciate it. Have a good night. All right, we're gonna get to Thomas, and then I'm gonna do my close here. All right.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Oh, back to you, sir. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing well. I got to.
What's on your mind? What was on your mind?
It's again to two of the callers' points, but kind of wrapped up into a different thought I had, and it goes to how to actually make it happen, right? So once you get people to say, do you know what? Yep, reparations, or pick a term that we're going to use that makes it best, is a good idea, right? We start at that premise, we accept it. Now, what's the action to get it to actually happen, right? And we watched weed be popular by pretty much everyone. It seemed like it's universal, and it's still not federally done, right? At least gay marriage was that kind of took a turn later, but at least gay marriage was pretty well overwhelmingly popular before it changed, right? It took essentially generational changes, right? Decades for it to actually flip. And it seems like pot's at the tail end of, okay, it's actually going to flip now here sometime soon. So if you become, and I hope you do, and I hope it's unlike Antifa or any of these other movements since Occupy Wall Street that were leaderless. If you're going to do this, it's going to need to have leaders, right? So if you become the spearhead of it, what sort of expectation do you have to actually see reparations get paid out? Is that 2 elections, 1 election, whatever it is? Do you have an idea of a time frame that you expect this idea to marinate into the populace and actually become something, an amendment or whatever we end up doing with it?
Okay, so let me say that. That's why That's why I would like to switch the narrative from from reparations to atonement, because reparations is me feeling that you owe me. Atonement is you, not you personally, but this country realizing that we owe them. You see the difference? And then the thing is this: I am not for leaders. I am for a code. And if you're on code, I mean, that's how America became America, right? Americans have a code. No matter how we go abroad, we're expected a level of respect. And no matter where we go in the world, Americans are respected on a certain level, because there's a certain code that you handle Americans with, right? There is no leaders. I mean, really, if you think about it, there is no leaders in the Trump movement. Trump wasn't the leader. Trump was the bullhorn. Right. And
Right.
when he stepped out of line, his base let him know, and he would clarify it by noon. Like, no, I didn't mean that. I meant this. So if
But that
everybody gets on
allows for
code,
disorganization. I don't like no leaders. There needs to be people that are willing to just take a stand. And whether Trump is the bullhorn for it, he had all of this other stuff, information coming in, right, from all these different people who, in all honesty, are trying to capitalize on his popularity too. Like, right, hey, watch my YouTube videos because I support Trump, blah, 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 blah. You see people switch all over the place, and I don't think all of them was honest. It's a lot of people jump in the bandwagon and see where the dollar signs fall. But so I don't like that, and it disorganizes the message, right? Occupy Wall Street could have seen some sort of change happen if they weren't so damn disorganized, right? The Black Lives Matter movement, for as organized as it seems, is not. Go ahead, sorry.
Let me chime in right there, because what you see in disorganization, I see in decentralization. And that's why, I mean, I hate to say this, but that's why drug rings have been so successful. That's why the T word sales have been so successful, because when you're decentralized, you can't just take out one person like they used to when you take out a King or a Malcolm X, then the movement dies. Like, they took Trump out, not physically, but you're saying they render him null and void. And guess what? The movement is still there. The people are still there. So that, I mean, that's a great example of what I'm talking about. When people get on code and say, this is our code, and no matter who the leader is, or if the leader is not on code, he could be ousted. And then you're saying we keep moving. You know, that way, whoever leaders is, whatever leaders are installed, they have to speak to the code, not the people acquiescing to what the leader wants. So let's be clear on that.
The priority of the two would definitely be to what you're saying, the code. But someone articulate needs to rally the troops, if you will. There needs to be someone in some level of a position of power, or someone elevated to a position of power who has earned the right to speak the code to the masses, if that is a good way of putting that. But there needs to be someone that is the Trump, right? That is the bullhorn that says they are the message. And if they weren't, again, right, they're ousted. So it doesn't say that they're above your code. It's just saying it's necessary to have that bullhorn, right? So I feel like we're getting off.
But that's the thing. The people pick their bullhorn. Not, you know, that's how it happened with Trump, because Trump came in and was only speaking to what they wanted to hear: tighter borders, bring American jobs back,
right.
Lower taxes. Right. Well, no, he was very educated, because I mean, he sat down with a Steve Bannon, and then, like I said, there's different levels to this, and there's different roles to be played out in this. So when I say a leader, when we say a leader, we don't want one central leader. That never works. What we want is to have people that are held responsible for the actions they say. And if you look at me, I don't want to be a leader. I come here, I share my perspective. People agree with it, disagree with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, measure me against what the code is. If I ever get off code, take me down. That, I mean, that's
Okay.
where we have to be at. You know what I'm saying? It's a litmus test. It's either you're for the benefit or in the betterment, or you need to be removed.
Well, I'm gonna
go ahead.
I'm gonna say, whether you want it or not, by doing this and having these conversations with people, you are leading, right? You may not want it, but you are now in that role. Whether you ever show your face and come out in public or not, what you're doing currently is leadership, right? And that's necessary, right? Otherwise, what you're saying, none of the people that came to you find out about, right? In some way, No Agenda and Adam Curry convinced you to take your voice to the masses. They elevated you through your conversations there to a role of leadership. Whether you accept it or want it or not, that's where you are, right? So, and that's a good thing to me. And I think we could get into really deep semantics and devil in the detail stuff together, going back and forth with this particular one. But mine is more, I want to circle back to what I initially started, is do you have a time frame or pathway to change? So I was listening to Peterson talk with Eric Weinstein today, and their most recent little podcast. And Peterson's going through his trials and tribulations, and he mentioned that he thinks he's changed or caught up or whatever for the last time. His last little breakdown is the last time that he could do it. And he said some people make one change in high school, figure out how to adapt to that society in high school, and then their growth stops. They never change or transfer or evolve, whatever we want to use again, right? And so when people say that this generation just needs to die and then change will happen, that is somewhat true. So again, this particular idea that we're bringing to the forefront of however many people's minds, how long do you expect this seed to become the redwood tree? Do you have a goal or a time frame or anything on that?
No, I don't have a time frame on that because it's not up to me to set the time frame. And I keep saying this, and if you know anything about radicalization, I hate to use that term, but I want to use it for an example. It only takes a critical mass of people, 5-10% of the people, to sway the rest of the people in a certain mindset. So, I mean, it's not a time goal, it's a percentage goal.
Right.
And no one could put a time on that because from say 2012 to 2016, look how fast things changed.
Right.
From 2016 to 2020, look how fast things change. So it's not the point about right now, it's the point about establishing what the code is and making sure the standards are set. Is like, if you're not on code, then you will not be allowed to speak for the code.
Right.
And that's the problem. Like, that's the problem with politics itself, because none of these politicians represent what code they think they represent. Because if that was the case, you would see the stimulus checks going to the people, but it didn't happen. Or you would see the tax breaks going to the people for the other side, but it didn't happen.
Right.
No, so it's like they
Kinda
get
like,
a bunch of we're with you, but then when they go behind those closed doors, they're on the same team. So what we have
kind
to
of
do
like
is say, if you're
understanding
not
of,
for the
go
people,
ahead, sorry.
no, I'm saying if you're not for the people, then you can't represent the people.
Okay. So it's kind of yours more instead of a party, it's a political theory almost. It's a layer, a level deeper, right? It's
that's correct.
It's just
that's
a
correct.
level deeper, right? So
it's a political identity. It's an identity. That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of directed towards this particular wedge issue, which I can agree with. But I guess my question, when I thought it out a little bit better, what I was actually trying to ask is, would you like to live to see what you're talking about right now happen?
Of course, I would like to see it, but I mean, if you look at this, say, I mean, not to get religious, but just take a biblical standpoint. Not everybody made it to the promised land. Right. But those people that maybe didn't make it to the promised land played a role into the other people making it to the promised land. So I want to see that. I think that's the problem with groups, and that if the people that are in power don't feel like they're going to see it come to fruition, then they say, well, what the hell? I'm just going to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to enjoy life. And they get frustrated. But if they start thinking about the future generation, and I think this is why countries like China kick our ass, excuse my language, but they don't think about themselves. They're thinking in 100-year clips. You know, I think this is where Americans have been so short-sighted, and I think that's where they have lost ground, because when you start, I'm thinking right now about my grandchildren.
Right.
Not about me, because I'm 40. You know what I'm saying? What, I got another maybe 40 years plus. I mean, if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm gonna say, if I don't see it in my 40, if I don't get to see it with my eyes, it's not worth it. It's not worthful. It's not a ideal worth pushing for. No.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said this comes from the core. This is not about this is not about just being self gratifying.
Right.
This is about okay, I might not see it. Hell, my kids might not see it. But we were that stone that caused the first ripples in the pond, right? And it just keeps moving and keeps moving way out, keeps moving its way out. And maybe I'm speaking to somebody that, may be that change, but I had to play my part. I had to play my role.
Right. No.
Understand?
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, because I hopefully I communicate myself successfully, and I think we all had to start thinking like that. But I think that's the point we got now, because people, and I'll say this, once we went to corporations and not family owned businesses.
Oh, we messed up bad there.
It's about, why? I mean, you're a smart person. Why is it?
Why is it? Because it took the personal out of the whole thing, right? It took knowing the person, knowing the quality. It took the actual free market out of it in a sense. Once banks became too big to fail, once companies started shipping jobs out to make a penny at the cost of another thing's life, there's my super liberal portion of me, right? Like there's a lot of corporate entities. And if you're going to talk about this one world government or one world whatever, to me, that's the multinationals. There's companies that are bigger than nations at this point. There's people that are bigger than nations. So a lot of nations. At that point, you're screwed, dude. Once you put that much money, aka power, into that small group of hands, of course they're going to make decisions that benefits that small group. It's duh. Sorry.
But not only that, but everybody's complicit in it because everybody's worried about their quarterly gains. It's like we're thinking in 3-month clips instead of thinking in 3-generation clips, where if you build a company up, a family business, you're saying, you know what, I want to make sure my great grandson has a business. So I start making business decisions in a different way. It's like, hold on, we can't take this short-term profit. You know what? We might not even take a profit this year to keep the best workers in place. But when you start only speaking for the shareholders and speaking for, the bottom line, it's like, cut those 1,000 people jobs. It'll make our earnings look better and make the stock price go up. And we're just selling our future short.
CEOs, sorry, I'm talking to you forever. I know you wanted to leave, but CEOs.
No, you're fine.
I think of serial killers, honestly, because like when I watch that, like when you hear the famous line, it puts the lotion in the basket or else right? It dehumanized what it was going to kill, right? What that serial killer was going to kill. And when you're 15 levels of middle management away from the people working, they're it. They became it, not Bob, Tom, Lisa, Jose, who the fuck ever. That they're just that base level, right? Or middle management the same way. When you're too far distant from the people you're working with, it's serial killer mentality. It becomes the bottom line. It becomes what you said, the 3-month mark. So too large of companies are absolutely horrible. Pick one, I don't care what political leaning they have, or if they put a pink ribbon on their logo during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're too big, they suck, in my opinion. There you go. But I'll let you
like
get,
I said,
I know you're leaving. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I, if you can call back in time, I like talking to you, because you're saying you push back and just not say, okay, yeah. You say how, which that's a question that needs to be answered. But the question right now is convincing people why. Why should they care? Why should they change the current behaviors? And then once you give them the change, it's like, okay, now we can start figuring out, okay, what it's kind of like when you gain and when you're out of shape, or you gain a lot of weight. It's like, okay, what do I need to cut out first? I'm not gonna go in there and try to run a 6-minute mile. It's like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to eat cupcakes at 3:00 in the morning. Let me stop that first, and then you build off of that momentum. So, but yeah, I appreciate you calling in. I see you in the comments, and you're always pushing back, and I appreciate that, because everything needs to have a stress test, right, to see if we're headed in the right direction or not. So I appreciate you doing that.
Hey, I'm just an argumentative asshole, but I really appreciate it. Otherwise, I wouldn't follow you.
Keep it up. Keep it up. I mean, you have to have you got to have that person, people in the crowd to say, "Well, what's your plan?"
Yeah.
Which we should have a plan more than just talking, but it's it's effort, and yeah.
What right now? Like the why is a huge chunk of this whole thing, right? Like you are at the why stage, but you already got me. I'm done with why. Like I don't need that anymore. Like that's past me currently. So I'm on the how, right? So that's where my questions are. So it just is. You already got me personally on why, but the larger masses obviously aren't caught up to everyone that's watching your videos, right? So I agree with you doing what you're doing.
Let me point this out to you though. We still had 80% of so-called quote unquote black people vote for the Democrat Party for nothing. So obviously the why hasn't reached them yet. You know, those are the ones we have to reach. It's like, why are you giving your vote away? That's capital, that's currency. You know, so we have to reach them and get them on board with the why. And then once we get enough of that critical mass, then we can start talking about the how.
Right. I've shared your videos specifically with black people because every white person I know, all of our wonderful white guild, as Patrice said, I can say he's talking to white people. I can say any goddamn thing I want about race. That's part of my reparations, right? I love Patrice for that. But so every white guilt person's going, yeah, I'm evil. My ancestors were evil. Yeah, we're the easy ones. So you're right. And so that's the people I've shared it to. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Right. Ask them, and trying to get them to listen has been the bigger issue, because that's breaking a different tradition, because especially where I live, everyone I know close by, the 4 black people that live in this county, like they see the same things I do, the real actual boogeyman that's still a part of our country. And so, no, they're not going to vote for whoever the fuck those guys are voting for. Right. I don't care what.
Well, I'll say this about the real boogeymans. I say this about the real boogeyman. That's why we need to have GBG. That's why we need to have the Second Amendment, because that allows us to, you know what? If you really want to be a problem for me, so be it. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's why our rights have. I mean, when you talk about a party that wants to, what you say that we were the most oppressed people, most harassed people, but then you want to disarm me? That doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense.
You're right.
You know, that's why GBG is such a brain freeze, because it's like, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, we are. You know what I'm saying? There are boogeymen out there, so that's why I need my protection.
Yep.
And then they say, no, you don't.
As Chappelle said, but he was saying it to Republicans. He goes, hey, you want to get Republicans on board with gun control? Every black man buy a gun. So hey, there's a lot of stuff out there. And I'll tell you, like I said, from my little neck of the woods, there's a lot that I listen to. That's why I'm such a dick in comments sometimes. But there's a lot I listen to that does not match what the fuck I live in. Right? It doesn't match it at all. But I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to actually let you get on with your day. Otherwise, I'll sit here and talk to you till 4 a.m. I found your podcast through a friend of mine after he had dinner with No Agenda with Adam. And he said, and he didn't introduce me to No Agenda. He said, you're probably just going to get frustrated, and I don't want to deal with that. But go listen to Mo. And he was right. Like, ever since then, you're most avid detractor in a sense, but I'm also fully in support of your why in general. Sound good?
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't need to see you at a detractor. What you're saying is, are you serious? And if you are, then what's your plan? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's that's the difference between wishing and people. Sometimes people just wish that things happen, and they have no mindset, no framework in their mind of how you actually get to, you saying, make it realize. You know, and they just daydream. So we're not daydreaming over here. You're saying we have certain leverage and certain counterbalances that can be moved, but you have to get that, like I said, that critical mass on board for it to really have, you're saying, get past what we're dealing with now is inertia, and we have to get over the inertia and get the ball rolling.
If a Republican in Georgia went for it, a black Republican went for atonement and made that happen, it would put your names on the map and it would be taken seriously by Republicans. If it was me and I'm a political advisor or something, I'd go there.
Mhm.
I'd go to Georgia. But that's me.
Yeah. Okay, I appreciate that advice. And please call in again, Thomas. I really
if we can do
enjoy
anything
talking
with
to you.
it. Yeah, enjoy you. Have a good
No,
night.
we no. What we're doing is, like I said, we're getting on code. That's what we're doing. All right, so I'm about to wrap up here. I went a little longer than expected, but that's okay because it was a fruitful conversation. And just to wrap up, Thomas brought a lot of good questions to the table. The how, but right now we need to be focused on the why. And the why is our motivation to stay on code, to get on code, to be true allies. And what a true ally is, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. Now I might not support it, but I'm not going to be getting your way. And that's how that works. Let's see, is there any? Skip Kerr said there will be reparations, just not in our lifetime. You know what? Hey, a lot of people said that there wouldn't be whatever, but that didn't stop people from pushing towards it. And it may take 2-3 generations. Hopefully not. But if that's the case, guess what? It has to start something. You have to get a start somewhere. Yeah, so let me see. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I appreciate all of y'all hanging out late with me tonight. It was more of a conversation-based show tonight, but we had some silliness going on. And as we saw, there's we'll touch more on these the Michelle Obama thing. And next live, I'll cover the Grammys. Just to tease a little bit, I'll cover the Grammys and then also the fallout from the Grammys with Tamir Rice's mother. And we also got to look at the Black Lives Matter situation with the Brown family as well. If there's nothing else, as I always say, pay attention to everything